when I joined BeatStars, for example, if I had $100,000 just to advertise my beats, I don't think it would have helped that much, honestly, because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't understand the landscape. I hadn't optimized my beat store. I didn't even have enough beats in my catalog to make that kind of investment worthwhile. Nah, I'm not mad at it. What's going down is the Music Entrepreneur Club podcast. This is episode 96. All episodes powered by BeatStars. BeatStars.live, Mondays and Thursdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is where we host our interactive music business mentorship programs. They're free. So, I say this all the time. We'd love to see you on. You don't have to sign up. You don't have to pay, nothing. We're there twice a week for you and your music careers. Dame, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. Another successful week of just making progress. Sometimes I have the habit because I'm always working, and sometimes things get a little dead, and then I start new stuff. And then, because sometimes you're waiting on other people. So instead of just being patient, I'll start some other stuff. But it can backfire when everybody starts getting back to you at the same time, because you want to be patient and let people, get back to you at their convenience. You don't want to press them too much. But then when you start several different projects and then everybody starts getting back to you, it's like, oh shit, all right, why did I do that? But it's all good stuff. So I can't complain. I'm excited. 1 week notice, preparation is going super well. We should be announcing the artists and the producers and the engineer sometime in May. So I'm super excited about that, man. So no complaints this week.
Well, that's good news.
Indeed. So what do we have on the agenda today?
Same old stuff. I think we did want to talk about your revelation that you're now signing artists.
Shit. Definitely not.
Okay, so then let me talk about a tweet I got then. I will stop trolling you. I got to get one in every episode. So I tweeted, I guess it was yesterday, that almost no successful producer knew what they were doing when they started out. And I think this applies to more than just producers. I think it applies to anyone in the music business. Because as we say time and time again, the barriers to entry to the music business pretty much don't exist. I mean, you can be a 13-year-old kid that never experienced any part of the music business and had no background in educating themselves on the music business, formally or informally, and they can jump on Spotify right now and put their music up there, and they're in the music business. Or they can jump on BeatStars right now and they're in the music business. So, we just don't know. The vast majority of us have no experience or formal training before we enter into this career field. So I said almost no successful producers knew what they were doing when they started out, but they figured it out because they dedicated time and energy to it. You can figure it out too if you truly want it. It's not easy. There are no secrets or shortcuts, just time, effort, and will. And I stand by that. And this is something that I think we probably both agree on.
For sure. And I think what you talked about before you said that example in terms of this industry being unique, I think it's obvious to most, but just think about it. Like, anybody can put their music in the same store that Drake has his music, that Kendrick has his music, that Meg Thee Stallion has her music. That's not typical of any other industry, right? Like, we just don't have access to these distribution channels that, like, we can't put our stuff in Target. We can't sell cars on the Hamer Toyota lot. Like, it's a pretty unique. I mean, there might be another industry like this, but I can't think of one right now. Like, even movies, like you can make your own movie and put it on your own platform, but it's not going on HBO. It's not going in the movie theater. Like, you literally have your product in the same store that Drake, arguably the biggest artist in the world at this moment, puts his stuff, right? There's no difference. It's all in the same store. So, you're right. Like the barriers to entry are super low. Anybody can claim to be in the music industry. So it's a good thing, and it can be a challenging thing at times as well.
Yeah, I don't necessarily see it as a bad thing. I know there are some bad elements that can be thrown in the mix, but I don't know. I don't think the bad outweighs the good in with regard to increased accessibility to the music business. But somebody did reply. Shout out to them, Mobile Music Pro. To YouTube channel specifically for producers, and they replied that there are shortcuts. They agreed. They said nothing can replace time, effort, and will, but there are a few shortcuts. So I just challenged them to name a couple because I was curious, and they gave me four. Number one was good software. Number two was friends in the music business. Number three was access to
What
capital.
was the first one?
Good software.
I'm sorry.
My bad. Number one was good software. Number two was friends in the music business. Number three was access to capital outside of a 9-to-5 job, and number four was YouTube. And I personally, and in terms of my own experience level, wholeheartedly disagree with all four of these. But I wanted to bring that up because I do think that this list is typically something that a lot of people will use as a counter to what I'm saying. Because effectively what I'm saying is if you want it so badly, like you say you do, you'll find a way to get it. We all start at zero pretty much. And some people are saying, well, you don't all start at zero. I'm sure what's her name? Benzino's daughter. What is her name? She's dope.
No idea.
She's just, oh my God. I feel so out of touch. She's a rapper. There are people that have ins in the music business. And if they have the talent and if they have the drive and the will to create music consistently, then yeah, that probably gets them in the door. How rare is that though? I know that there's consistently a narrative being thrown around about industry plants, and it's just another buzzword. Everyone's an industry plant if they're successful. Everyone gets that accusation, and it's pathetic. I know working with artists that get a little bit, even if it's a little bit of success, there's always a rumor surrounding their success, demystifying their success, minimizing their success. Okay, well, like with Ted Park, I was hearing this rumor that the only reason he's finding success is because he went to Korea. And it's like, that's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life. How the fuck does going to Korea mean that you just automatically get? A lot of people go to Korea. They're not all successful. So it just, a lot of it doesn't make sense. And it goes back to this need for people to minimize the success of others to justify their own lack of success. And the spirit of what I'm saying is that this is your choice. It's really your choice whether or not to pursue music with the same spirit that you claim to love music. And I'm sorry, in my experience, I've worked with a ton of artists who claim to love music, who claim to live for it and die for it, and they don't make music every day. They don't care enough. So talk is cheap. And that's why I said, if you really, truly love music, then you will find a way. You will find a way. And if you really want to turn this into a career, yeah, you're going to figure it out. So of that list, I automatically discount items 1 and 4, which are good software and YouTube, because literally everyone has access to that. If you have the internet, you have access to good software and you have access to YouTube. So I don't see how either of those things create success.
Yeah.
Well, you're rolling your eyes, so I think we agree on that.
Yeah, especially YouTube. Like, who doesn't have access to YouTube? Like, that was ridiculous.
I guess people in certain countries, I don't know, but that's I don't think that's what we're talking about here. And then number 2 is friends / contacts in the music business. I don't know. I have a ton of friends and contacts in the music business, and I'm not a millionaire. And pretty much everything I do is because I work 16 hours a day. But that's my experience.
Well,
I go ahead.
I think they're I mean, where they can, everybody born starts out at a different place. Like some families have more money, some families have, you know, less contacts in any, in any particular industry. Like, so I don't know if these are considered like shortcuts. Like, I personally don't think there is a shortcut to having a long lasting career in the music industry. I mean, shit, we even see stars that have kids that want to be in the music industry and don't make it way more often than they do, right? Like Reverend Run's kids, like, they did a little something, but it's not like they're stars, right? I mean, they got a little bit in the door because they're the sons of, Run DMC, but they're not Drake, they're not J. Cole, they're not, I'm sure, I don't even think, and Diggy was the most successful one, but I don't even think he could fill a 500 cap room. Maybe in some cities.
Yeah, probably in some cities. But the fact that, like, if right now someone put a gun to our heads and said, all right, name some successful rappers who are the sons of and daughters and children of other successful rappers, what could we really say? Diggy Simmons, Will Smith's son.
Yeah, you have Jaden, but he's dope. Like
Yeah,
he's worked at his craft. Like he's
Coy Leray. Sorry, Coy Leray is Benzino's daughter. Okay, so and arguably,
I didn't know that was his daughter.
Yeah, and arguably her music career is stronger than his. But okay, so let's name more. So we got her. We got Will Smith's kid. We got Diggy Simmons. Who else?
I don't know. I mean, Ice Cube's son went more into acting. I know that he was a rapper at one point, or might still be, but but yeah, acting is maybe a different path. Yeah, there's not that many.
Yeah.
Miley Cyrus.
Okay, yeah, I'd say Miley Cyrus counts.
There's not that many. There's way more kids of famous musicians that I'm sure also wanted to be famous musicians, but it just never materialized. My assumption for a lot of the kids is, like, to make it in the music industry, you have to have, you probably were pushed to a point where you had to make it. Like, there was no other choice but to really figure this out. They were in pretty dire situations. They probably came from a low income neighborhood, and they saw that as their only way out. So that instilled in them a drive that was like, yo, I gotta make it, like a DMX type drive. And then once they become successful, their kids aren't born in that environment. So they can still develop that drive, but it wasn't maybe life or death, or they may not look at it as like life or death. They probably had like other options because of the environment. So in some situations, you might feel like it holds them back from being successful in the music industry because they've had a comfortable upbringing. That might seem backwards. That might seem backwards to some people, but I'm sure that is the case for some kids that are kids of celebrities.
And I mean, some of them are pretty good and they're still obscure. I'm not going to say names, but it might be some people that you don't even know make music because their music careers just haven't taken off. And they are the children of megastars. But yeah, again, I want to point out that the 4 people that we named, Diggy Simmons, Jaden Smith, Miley Cyrus, and Coil Ray are all really talented and really unique, and would be they're doing well, I would say, in spite of who their parents are, not because of who their parents are. I'm sure they got some kind of boost, but personally, I think being Will Smith's son is not helpful to, as a kid, appealing to the current generation of rap fans. I don't think that's very helpful. But anyway, I want to get to number.
I think it's super helpful. I mean, because Will Smith, even though he's not part of the generation of kids today, like he's still seen as pretty damn cool. And he's probably, one of the top 5 biggest actors on the planet.
Yeah.
So that definitely helps. But I can't really say that, like, it's I'm sure Jaden puts in a shitload of work to get to where he is. And so I don't know if I would agree that that's a necessarily a shortcut. But anyway,
I don't think it's a shortcut. Well, here's the thing, and the fourth one is access to capital, so money. Obviously, having money is just a guarantee of a pretty smooth life for a lot of folks. I mean, unless you self-sabotage, which a lot of people do, but that's a personal choice. I would never in a million years get up here and say, yeah, people who are born into immense wealth still have a lot of challenges and this and that compared to someone who's born into poverty. That's ridiculous. But I'm talking specifically about a shortcut or a fast track to fame and fortune within the music business. Not celebrity just because you're associated with somebody famous, or not just financial freedom because you were born with it. That's completely different. Yes, if you're born with financial freedom and access to immense wealth, you don't ever have to do shit but enjoy your money for the rest of your life. I get that. That's not what I'm talking about. So is money a shortcut? And I think we've talked about this a lot too. It can certainly help, but even if we're talking at like the level that I am, so when I joined BeatStars, for example, if I had $100,000 just to advertise my beats, I don't think it would have helped that much, honestly, because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't understand the landscape. I hadn't optimized my beat store. I didn't even have enough beats in my catalog to make that kind of investment worthwhile. So for me, that financial boost, I don't think would have done much. And I think a lot of people in the music business, entering into the music business, think if only I had money to just dump into my career, I'd be famous right now. It doesn't work that way. Even with celebrities who are signed to labels, a lot of money is getting dumped into a lot of records that flop. And a lot of unsigned artists, whether they were born rich, whether they hustled, whether they saved their money up, whatever, they're dumping a ton of money into their single promotion or music video promotion, and they flop. You've never heard of them. They can't fill a show. They're not making money off of their music. They're operating at a loss consistently because their music just isn't good enough. Their approach isn't good enough. They don't know how to strategize. They don't know how to invest their money wisely into the right marketing channels. So they're going to end up losing in the long run compared to someone who has a $0 budget and just has the right music and can connect with people and can resonate with fans and listeners and build up an organic fan base without spending a dollar, just by putting in, old school effort and time and energy over a period of several years. And we see that all the time with artists. They start from zero, they do what they can, and they figure it out on their own. And then once they have it figured out on their own, maybe they start generating more money and they say, okay, cool. Now I know where to put my money. Now I know how to advertise. Now I know how to reach people because I already have my brand established. I already have my brand identity. I know where my fans are. I have those data from my Instagram. I have those data from my Spotify, and I know what to do. I think to me, that's the biggest reason why there are no shortcuts, because jumping into the music business, you have no idea where your fans are, who they are, what they like, what they look like, what they want from you. You have to put that work in to connect with actual human beings. Otherwise, what kind of foundation do you have? Nothing. You're just walking into the business throwing money all over the place and hoping that it falls in the right areas. And it just, that's not how it works.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that money doesn't make some things easier. Like, it can make. I wouldn't necessarily call it a shortcut, though. At least the way that we came up in the music industry. Because you're right. Like, if you have a lot of money out the gate, you're probably just going to lose a lot of money. Because you're just going to put it in places that aren't the best. You'll probably start overspending for videos. People might sense that you have money, and then they'll just, raise the quote that you'll get the same video, but the person might just know you have 10,000 versus if you have like 1,000 and have to figure it out. I think having a lot of money it's possible that it could rob you of your creativity, right? Because when you don't have that much, you're kind of forced to figure it out and make do with less. That's why I feel like I really know how to stretch a budget now that the budget is a little more, I can get so much out of $20,000 than I probably could have in 2008, right? I just kind of know what's most important. I might have better relationships. So yeah, but there's no shortcut to like building community. And I talked about this with a class that I spoke at the other day. It's like, because ultimately, if you're able to build community, you can have a long lasting career in the music industry. And building that community is a lot of upfront lifting in terms of time spent engaging with your audience, learning your audience, making them feel connected to something that's bigger than you, and that takes a lot of time, a lot of creativity. And I think that's how we were able to build such a long lasting connection with the fans. And there really is no shortcut to that. So I don't want people to hear this and be like, oh, the Dame and Payne said money doesn't matter. It can, obviously, you need access to certain things. And, at some point you want to hire people and things like that. But, if you weren't born with it, I think most people have to earn their money anyway, to earn and then save, budget. It's just part of the process. So I wouldn't consider it necessarily a shortcut.
No. I mean, even having talent isn't a shortcut. The stars really have to align for you, and you really have to put in a lot of effort. Because I remember when I first started touring, there was this group that was really excited, and I'm not going to say names, and I don't even remember their name. It was that long ago. They were really excited because one of them had a bunch of money. I don't remember why. I think they owned a business and then they just sold it, and they're like, we're going all in on music. So they were basically living the fantasy life. They got a tour bus, they wrapped it. They got and this was back when that was it's still a big deal now, but, having merchandise and having really quality, physical copies of your album was really a cool thing. Nowadays, that's kind of not that as important, but they had everything, and they hit the road. And after that year, I never heard about them ever again because the music was not good. I remember listening to the music and I was just shaking my head because I'm like, you invested 6 figures in this? You can't throw money at something that's not ready for the industry or for people's ears and expect it to just grow wings. It's not how it works. I remember another guy, he was out here and he claimed to have spent upwards of 100,000 over the course of a couple years on his music career. And I don't know where he was getting the money. I don't ask questions, but he went nowhere. Didn't even have more than 1,000 followers on social media. I don't know where he put the money. Probably anyone who inboxed him and was like, hey, $250 promo will get you on 10 blogs. He probably just paid the $250 and just kept doing it. No fan engagement. His logos were terrible because he did them himself. He should have spent more money on that. His videos were terrible because he did them himself. And his music ultimately was just not good. Just not good. And I'm not saying this as like some kind of purist because, you know, a lot of people will look at the charts and say, none of this music is good. It's all trash. I listen to all of it and I'm like, yeah, I see why people like this. Cause you know, I'm a DJ, well, in a former life before COVID. And then I also worked in radio for 5 years and I just love music and I make all kinds of music. I'm not one of those people who says all modern music is trash. I like everything. I don't care what the genre is. So when I listen to current music and everyone's saying, oh, mumble rap is trash. Nope, I like it. Oh, this person over here is trash. Lil Nas X is trash. Blah, blah, blah. No, I think all of it is good. And I certainly recognize that this music is good for certain people, even if I'm not going to be listening to it on my free time. I recognize that it's good. I'm telling you, there's a lot of music that's just not good out there. And artists think that it's good because they haven't developed an ear and they haven't developed standards for themselves. And they think that all it takes is money. And it's not. It doesn't. Again, I'll say money can supercharge what you're already doing, but if you're not doing anything, you are throwing money at nothing. You're throwing money into a black hole.
Well, what about the cat that was like stealing from his job? I can't remember his name. Like he stole like over $1 million from his job and was putting it into his music career.
I think that's a great example.
And the most that we heard from him was when he got busted. Like I didn't know who that cat was before he got busted. Like that was the biggest piece of PR that was created from his situation. So yeah, if you think that just because I mean, a lot of artists believe that right now, right? It's like, oh, it's just because I don't have money is why I haven't taken off. And, you know, that's really just to give them an excuse, right? It's not their fault. It's the fact that I don't have any money. Well, one, you know, most people have to figure out how to earn money, you know, hopefully legally. So, you know, go out and earn the money necessary and prove that it was just money. Because more often than not, it's not just the money of why you're not moving.
Yeah, his name was Chad Focus, and I do want to, you know, because just a lot of people probably to this day think, nah, I think he was more successful because he stole 4.1 million, according to reports. 4.1 million.
Wow, I didn't know it was 4. I thought it was like a little over. I didn't remember the story like that. But they have 4.1 million, and he still couldn't get his career off the ground. You know,
yeah. I mean, look, let me just give you the numbers. His YouTube channel, 12.3 thousand subscribers. Not very many. I've never seen anywhere close to 4 million, and I got 110,000. It just took time.
And those actually might be bought. Those could have been, you know, some kind of shady YouTube promo that in way he got 12,000.
Yeah, and then he actually tweeted or posted on Instagram in May of 2019. He posted it only cost $300,000 to have the #1 album in the USA. Don't let that go over your head. I don't know how he could have misspelled that word, but don't let this go over your head. He spent I don't know how many thousands of dollars on billboards. And he posted a billboard. This is not to disrespect anybody, I'm just looking at exactly what's in front of my face. He spent tens of thousands on physical billboards. This one's through Clear Channel Advertising. And he posted it to his Instagram. Guess how many likes it got? 163 likes. Tens of thousands of dollars spent on a billboard. 163 likes. You know, please, don't get wrapped up in the money, because you will throw money into a deep hole and never get it back.
When you do get money, a lot of times artists are inclined to spend on things that make them appear successful, but don't really move the needle. A billboard being just that. Now, I'm not saying that a billboard can't be effective. I think it can be with the right artist, with the right promotion, with the right placement. But I would also try to be more creative with that billboard and incorporate that into your digital strategy as well. Like there's some type of, maybe a scavenger hunt in the city. And I think you don't get a billboard until you have at least a pocket of fans that care about you. Or you have like a really creative idea that you are pretty sure is going to work and create some awareness. But as an artist, you definitely you should be investing in promotion that is effective, and that's going to make you just feel good, boost your ego, and try to create the appearance of you being successful. Invest in stuff that's actually really going to move the needle, that's actually going to get your music in front of, new potential fans. All that vanity stuff, all that stuff is for ego. Unless you just have the money to burn and that's what you want to do, go right ahead. But, it's not going to move the needle long term.
Yeah, it's not. And I don't know. Hopefully the conversation moves people towards I think it's an empowering reality, honestly, that really the art and the humans that consume your art and appreciate and love your art really are at the core of this business still, especially now more than ever, when you have, like we had Marlon Craft on. He was saying he's making more money now than when he was signed to his label. He's more successful and happier now doing everything on his own and relying on his supporters who support his art than when his label actually had, a little budget for him. So, in Chad Focus's words, don't let that go over your head. Cause this is something that's important. I just wish more people understood that. Cause you see a lot of people that are frustrated and a lot of people that are miserable, and they're putting that negative energy, they're investing it into the wrong things. Not that negative energy is positive, but it's energy nevertheless. And I think there are ways to reevaluate what you're doing and just, rather than be negative, just focus on what's working, even if it's only working a little, and then maximizing your time and energy investment into those things. Like, for example, me, I don't know anything about TikTok. I'm on TikTok right now. It's super frustrating. I noticed that the last post I posted got significantly fewer views than the others. Like, I was on a good streak where I was getting, 1,000 to 4,000 views on all my TikToks, and then which isn't that many, I know. And then my last one got like 600. I was like, damn, something's different. And I realized the thumbnail was different, very different. And then I looked and saw that I used two thumbnails in the previous videos of my hands on my drum pads rather than my full body in the studio making the beat, and saw that those two got low view counts. So I'm learning from that and applying that to the next video. I will not put a thumbnail that just shows my hands. I have to show my full body. Small things like this matter, and the more these little details become embedded in your brain and applied to your process, the more progress you're going to make, even if it's small. I know I'm not going to blow up on TikTok overnight, but it's the long game. I mean, it's just like, it took me years to get a following on Instagram. It took me, I don't even want to say how many years to get a following on YouTube. And I think over 10 years to break the 100,000 subscriber mark. And it really did come down to just making better content, doing it more regularly, and spending more attention and focus on that particular benchmark.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we've said our piece on this. You know, yeah, I still don't think it's a shortcut. I would just focus on what you have and what you have access to and where you got to go. I think, you know, we start looking at what we think other people have, what relationships we think other people have, and then we start, you know, beating up our situation as opposed to focusing on what we have and, you know, making the best of it, putting together a proper plan, getting better at our craft, learning the business, and start being consistent with the content and engaging with the people that respond positively. I mean, that's the formula for success, but you got to be able to do it over years, not months, not days, not weeks, but years. So, you know, prepare for the journey.
Oh man, and the worst was for me just starting out, seeing other people that were, you know, kind of in close proximity to me, like other local artists, getting more shows, getting more press than me, and then me getting mad at them for for working harder for longer and coming up with these conspiracies as to why they're winning over me. That was the worst era for me ever, period. And a lot of people are going through that. If you can get out of that, if you can snap yourself out of that, please do. It's just you're filling a swimming pool full of negativity and anger and drowning yourself in it. Don't do that. It caused so many problems for me. So many problems. Like there are people around here that I still feel bad for hating on to this day. I was an asshole, and so were the people around me. Where all we had to do was work a little harder and make better music and try to reach fans more. But like we reworked our shows, we reworked the way that we performed to engage more people. We really put the listeners at the center of our entire strategy, and all of a sudden, more people started buying our merchandise. More people started coming to our events. More local publications started catching wind of us and giving us interviews, and some of it we just had to do ourselves, like reach out to these people and say, hey, we want to put you on the list for our upcoming show. You know, will you come out? You know, you're a music journalist. Or how do we submit to this calendar? How do we, oh, there's a promoter over there. Yeah, let's go talk to this promoter and, you know, ask him about his or her upcoming schedule. Or contacting the venue managers directly. There was just so much that we didn't do, but we had all of this energy that we could have been spending on doing things like this, doing things like contacting promoters and networking. And we spent it sitting around being haters, not even spending that time and energy making better music. There was no self-reflection at that point. It was really, really a terrible place to be, but a lot of us go through that, and some of us unfortunately never snap out of it. That's the tragedy.
Being a hater has never been part of a winning formula. Like, I don't know any haters that win consistently, and that just sounds like a sucky way to live. Like, so if you're a hater, I don't know how to snap out of that, because I don't consider myself a hater, so I can't really relate. But yeah, that's not part of a winning formula. So, you know, do what you got to do to snap out of it. Meditate, do a lot of self-care, read, whatever you got to do if you're a hater and you know it. You know, you're not gonna win that way.
That being said, Dame, what's on the horizon for 1 week notice. I'm excited about this project because Dream Life and I are heading the production on it. But can we talk any more about it?
Probably gonna announce the artist in May. I feel really good about this group. I think they're all super talented, so I'm excited about it. We'll be able to announce some of the sponsors soon. We've been able to get a lot of support. I've been blessed to get a lot of positive support from some pretty strong brands that are going to be part of the project. So yeah, it'll come. So can't share too much. We're recording everything in June, but we'll make the announcement of who's on it and start doing some promo efforts in May. So yeah, look out for it. Hopefully, the MEC community rocks with what we're doing. So looking forward to hearing the feedback.
I think they will. Do you have any guests that you're excited for on some of the upcoming free sessions?
Let's see, man, off top, I can't remember who I have. But I can go to my list right here because it's up. Let's see. So we have an artist named Ace. They call me Ace. So I wanted to have Ace on because he actually works for Google, has a normal job, or has a job, a corporate job, and is an artist full time as well. So I want to just dive into that experience and how he balances both. And I think that the job actually helps his career, obviously, help fund it. But I think that there's some more things from having a job that is beneficial to your career. So I have him coming on. I have a guy named Jesse Grushak coming on, so we can talk a little bit more about NFTs. I have the founder of a record label called DAO Records. They're heavy in the NFTs. They seem to be thinking forward about a lot of things. So that's going to be dope. During the 1 week notice week, I'm going to have the 1 week notice team on the MEC. So that'll be cool. I got Dove Clark coming on. She's been a publicist in the game for a long time. The founder of IndieFi. I've got just a lot of dope sessions, man. I'm lined up for the next 8 weeks. The sessions are going to be dope. A lot of gems drop. So lock in with us.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I got Dilly got a bumping coming up. GC Beats, Iceberg, one of the producers behind Polo G's big hit, and then also Parks from the Joe Budden podcast coming up.
Nice.
So yeah, stay tuned. I'm excited. Again, all these sessions are interactive and they're free. Mondays and Thursdays, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, powered by BeatStars, beatstars.live. You can also be alerted via text when we go live. And I always forget the number, Dame.
Yep, just text MEC to 844-206-7800, and you'll get a text alert right before we go live. As a reminder, if you happen to miss the live show, you can always catch the recordings at beatstars.live. So if you missed one and you wanted to check out the interview, just go to beatstars.live. All the sessions are archived there.
All right, I'm going to head out and prepare for my session with Illmind, which I'm excited for. That's happening today, which would be last week once this podcast actually drops. But it'll be archived up on BeatStars Twitch, their YouTube, my YouTube. We always drop it. Once again, appreciate you for tuning into the MEC podcast. We'll catch you next time, same place. Peace.
Peace.